Sherman Oaks?
Well, when I moved here about 25 years ago from back east, and I've always been into animation. And so when I got here, I started collecting animation cells. And eventually my collection got so big, I said, well, I better open up a gallery. So I did, and I've been here, we've been at this location for like 21 years, I think, at this location. And mainly animation, but then as you get into animation, it sort of branches out into other things, you know, some collectibles, and of course Disneyland, which of course they have a big tie together, so a lot of times. So we started doing some Disneyland collectibles. And it just so happens that I was friends with this collector who was a director of animation and also a client. And one day he came to me and said, you know what, I think it's time for me to move my collection on. Would you sell it for me? And I said, sure. So that's what's happened. So right now our gallery is all Disneyland.
Right.
We call this the story of Disneyland, and that's what the first guidebook was called when they first opened Disneyland on opening day. He had a guidebook called The Story of Disneyland. And the whole idea of this gentleman's collection was that he was going to tell the story of Disneyland from the very beginnings, what influenced the conceptual artwork, you know, all about how it was built, all the way through to Epcot. And I think he did a really good job.
Yeah.
You would stand in line, right? You would stand in line, and the reason I like this so much, I'll tell you, you would stand in line, and you would see people getting on their cars, their Atomobiles, those are what those are, and then you would see this giant microscope looking thing, and you would see these going by because they've been shrunk, you know, they're getting shrunk to the size of the atom. And there was only like 15 of these on a track. But I so remember this as a kid, standing in that line and watching people get on the ride and waiting for them to show up, and that thing was so believable to me, you know. I was okay, red shirt, and I would just wait for that red shirt to come up. This thing, so when I saw it, I knew right away what it was, you know, it struck me, this is my childhood memory of the ride. I would say this, the Jungle Cruise. The thing about it, even if you don't live in Southern California, because I'm from the East Coast, but we happen to be coming out here quite a bit, and we would go visit maybe once a year. I'd be lucky enough to go to Disneyland. The funny thing is, Disneyland means something to everybody, and it travels through the great thing about Disneyland is, you went to it as a kid, you'll take your kids to it as a kid, they'll take their kids to it, and what happens is it crosses over generations, and that's the strength of this collection, is there's something in it for everybody. Everybody remembers something when they walk in here. They go, oh, the rocket to the moon, oh, this. They all remember it, and when it comes to collectibles or anything, that's where all the strength is that there's generation after generation that will remember the park and will remember these rides. Right. For me, it's this piece. For you, it might be the pirate. For somebody else, it's going to be the Tiki bird. That's what I love about this collection. That's why I love having it in the gallery.
So there you have it, folks. The story of Disneyland told through various vintage items that you probably won't see anywhere else. So be sure to come and visit the Van Eaton Galleries in Sherman Oaks and visit the Story of Disneyland exhibit happening until February 27th. It's a perfect primer and perfect celebration, especially coming for Disneyland's 60th anniversary. Hope you check it out.